So this was your suggestion.
Yep.
It's Big Time.
Yes, Big Time from the album So by Peter Gabriel, not Sledgehammer.
No.
And here's why. I think Big Time is a better video. I would argue it's a better song. And it's although it's impossible to talk about one without the other, they're both from the same album. They're both by Peter Gabriel. They're both stop motion. Big Time is better.
I think it's very possible to talk about Sledgehammer without ever mentioning Big Time.
Exactly. And I don't think that's fair to Big Time. I think Big Time is cooler. Big Time is more polished. Something I like about Peter Gabriel is that I always get a really honest vibe from him. I don't think he ever had plastic surgery. I look at him now in 2019 when this airs, and he just looks like a normal guy who got middle-aged and old.
Sure. He still had it in 1986, though.
Oh, yeah.
I already feel like this is turning into Siskel and Ebert here because I watched Big Time. I don't think I'd seen it anytime recently. Actually, when you first suggested it, I was confusing it with Steam by Peter Gabriel, which was kind of the, here's the Sledgehammer for the 90s, and it's got CGI in it. This is made pretty concurrently with Sledgehammer.
Yeah, a little after. Same director, too.
Do you know if it was after that was a hit? Because it was a huge hit, Sledgehammer.
I would presume it would have to be. Knowing that Sledgehammer won the MTV music video, the video of the year, means that clearly you made another stop motion animated video with the same director.
Yeah.
Because of the success of Sledgehammer.
All right, well, here's why I think it is a lesser video. The stop motion animation is cooler in this video.
Yes.
Both videos have kind of a grab bag style of animation, like here's one thing that we can do, here's another thing that we can do, get this guy, we get this. And this one does that as well. There's a lot of cool stuff we can talk about in a minute. But the problem with this video is Peter Gabriel is just farting around on a blue screen in a few shots and just kind of shrugging at the camera, and he's not really interacting much with the stop motion animation. Sledgehammer, he's sitting in that room.
He's part of the animation. He's being animated. Now, all right, that's a valid point. I'll give you that.
You can't watch Sledgehammer without really feeling the amount of work that went into it and like the hours. Whereas this one, it's very easy to forget how long stop motion animation takes to make. And especially when you don't see a human being sitting in the middle of it, like getting tireder and tireder as each second passes. I think that takes away from it, and if you're going to be comparing them.
I saw a documentary on Amazon the other day about King Kong and about why King Kong's a big deal. It's a cultural phenomenon. They didn't really address some of the issues with King Kong, but the point is there was a really cool line from a person whose name I don't remember and therefore will not get proper credit. But they said, stop motion looks fake but feels real. And CGI looks real but feels fake.
Ooh,
and I thought they really hit the nail on the head there, that when you see old Ray Harryhausen stop motion, or you see this kind of really stylized, wacky, Pee Wee Herman style stop motion, it doesn't have to look real, but it feels real. And that's why we love it. That's why we still love it.
You can imagine waking up in the middle of the night and seeing, the Noid standing at the end of your bed and screaming, Of the various styles of animation that show up in this video, what stood out to you as an animator?
There is a very cool form of animation in this guy called Strata-cut animation.
Yes.
Does this ring a bell?
Yeah, I was trying to remember the name of it because our friend from Plymouth Rock Studios, Steve Madden, did some animations. He showed us how it worked once, I remember. And the movie, which we've talked about on camera before, Freaked.
Yes.
The opening credits for that are really cool Strata-cut animation.
Correct. Done by the same guy named David Daniels.
Figures, probably the one guy who can do it.
And as a matter of fact, doing a little research, he has a website where he has a bunch of how-to instructional videos and manuals and things of he invented this form of animation, and he has a whole bunch of, and you can do it too from home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's like you take a, it's like making a roll of sushi that changes as the roll goes on, and then when you cut slices off of it, it changes a little bit each time. So if you watch this video, he's making the name Big Time show up in it, and people moving. It's just like a very surreal looking.
In some ways, it's like the little Russian doll within the doll within the doll. So that, as it peels apart layers, it's like cutting, sushi, lasagna, some other permeable, mucusy, fluid thing that you get little bit by little bit.
There is one shot, one of the few shots where Peter Gabriel is actually in a set of some sort in this video, and it's him doing the Wienervelt effect, where he's got a big head on a little body. Big head. So he's got the little body. I think Pee-wee's Playhouse probably did it first. Pee-wee, like the Pee-wee HBO special, I think, had that going on. But there is a Pee-wee connection to this video.
There is, in going back through our notes, the artist named Wayne White. And Wayne White did a bunch of puppeteering and a bunch of prosthetics for this video. And Wayne White also worked on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
That's not the one I was thinking of.
Oh, what do you got?
The director, who also did Sledgehammer and Steam, directed the entire first season of Pee-wee's Playhouse. So that's why it looks like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool guy. He passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah, I read that too. And he also did the Talking Heads music video for Road to Nowhere. Which, like this, has some of the picture-in-picture frames that I really like. It's a very specific stylized thing that you just never see anymore. I like it. I've done it myself. I think it's fun.
We should do an episode on Road to Nowhere in the future, but that actually has like a little proof of concept for the Sledgehammer. Human being sits in a chair while stop motion animates around them. They probably got David Byrne to sit down for about an hour. Whereas
he's just not as patient. Man.
Yeah, no, probably not. Every time I watch Sledgehammer, maybe it's just because I know it's considered by many to be the greatest video of all time. And watching it through that lens, you can kind of imagine having your mind completely blown. Whereas watching this one, I'm in the mindset where I'm like, I've already seen Sledgehammer. This is the follow-up to Sledgehammer. It's just not as cool. It's not as... It's more of the same in a lot of ways, and there's awesome animation in it, but it just doesn't feel tied together in an interesting way.
Your assessment that I think is totally valid, which is in the first one, Peter Gabriel is part of the animation, and in this one, he's green screen, but he's a separate thing.
Yeah.
Him initially in the first video when he's blinking a lot, it almost feels like this is the first day we ever got him, so let's just take a whack at it, because as the video goes on, he blinks less. He clearly looked at his own dailies, and he looked at like, this is what works, this is what doesn't work. Big Time just feels more polished to me, because if you can't even go back and reshoot your own things where you're blinking too much, you're like, nope, we got it once, it was a lot of work, good enough, then it just doesn't feel like as finished a video, and Big Time to me does. I recently showed Big Time to a bunch of teenagers who had no idea who Peter Gabriel was. They'd never, and I showed Big Time, not Sledgehammer, and at the end, my favorite criticism, critique, assessment, seeing this through fresh eyes, was it feels like if Minecraft was a person. And that's a really dated description, but I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
To them, like, this guy is like really creative, like everything he touches turns to like the most fun parts of a craft store. Like, yeah, he's great.
That kid probably compares everything to Minecraft though, right?
Valid assessment.
Now that I think of it, if I were Peter Gabriel and I had just finished shooting Sledgehammer and people were telling me like, it's a huge hit, we have to do it again, I'd be like, no, thank you. Maybe like once every 10 years will I sit down for that long. I don't blame him for taking the easy route and just like, mugging to the camera for a little bit on a blue screen and then just letting the animators go crazy.
It really is, I say, the biggest difference is that Peter Gabriel himself is in it, but he's not being in it. There's puppets of him. There's action figures of him.
There's so much in this video. Yeah. I confess I only watched it once today.
You're missing. Well, I've watched it tons of times.
I need to pour over it.
And you could watch it over and over and over again in preparation for making a video podcast and still find new things every time you watch it.
I'll check it out more. I like the little box guys, the little rock monster box guys. Those were cool. Those were probably someone's pet character that they're like, finally I get to put them in a music video. I'm gonna make like 100 of them.
Maybe my favorite part of the video is when the hills are literally the topography is moving and there's like faces coming out.
Oh yeah, that reminded me of something from Return to Oz.
Yes. Yeah.
So this was 1986, right?
Yes.
Year of our birth.
That's correct.
Do you think we have a special affinity for it because it's as old as us?
I think we do for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's an 86er just like us. Number 2, I love stop motion. You love stop motion. Kevin behind the camera loves stop motion. It's something that we just don't see as much as it's like toys that glow in the dark.
Yeah.
There used to be more of them. I don't think they cause cancer. If they do, they kept that really quiet for a long time. And I feel like if they do, I deserve to know because I had a lot of them. But the point is, it's a very specific thing. It doesn't mean there's never going to be stop motion anymore. This still happens all the time.
There's been like 10 stop motion animation movies in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but this is from a very specific time and place, and nothing that comes out nowadays looks like this. A third thing,
Yep.
I really like Peter Gabriel as much as we've discussed how Big Time and Sledgehammer may always be thought of in the same vein, is that Peter Gabriel is much, much better than Phil Collins. They were both the front men of Genesis. Phil Collins still is, I think. I don't know, who cares? They will always be thought of as being back-to-back. They're both front men from the same band. Very different people. But to me, Peter Gabriel represents creativity and new ideas and excitement and light, and Phil Collins represents the worst kind of looking at Patrick Bateman, looking in the mirror and being and feeling nothing. I think of Studio, the most vacant, hollow nonsense, and I think of Big Time. Even Peter Gabriel's like B minus hits have more creativity than Phil Collins' entire career.
Awesome production on his music from around this time. In fairness to Phil Collins, he did the Tarzan soundtrack, which is honestly really good.
I'll give him that. I'll give him that. Son of Man.
His acting career. No, I'm not going to talk about his acting career. I've always found that their voices are really similar. They're singing voices, don't you think? Kevin agrees. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I more importantly than anything else, if you haven't actually seen this video, go watch Big Time and watch Sledgehammer, watch Steam. Download the album So. I did in prep for this this recording. Peter Gabriel is underappreciated, I think, and he just doesn't come up nowadays nearly as much as I wish he did. And yeah, if he's not part of your vernacular, if he's not part of you growing up, you're missing out. Check it out.
This has become a stealth Sledgehammer episode in a lot of ways.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you've liked our review of Big Time, not Sledgehammer, but that is sort of, the medium is the message. And as you put it very well, Neil, you could easily discuss Sledgehammer without discussing Big Time. So Big Time gets his day. This has been
The Vidnight Society.
The Vidnight Society wishing you all pleasant dreams. Too much?
Sure. By the way, this is our first episode we're filming. We may not air these in that sequence, but
yeah, you're right. They wouldn't know that. They wouldn't.
Yeah, but just a little bit of trivia. We haven't done this before. Bye. We don't know how to stop.